Let's put the whole issue of regulatory oversight to our first guest on the program today, Frank Gong, China Chief Economist and Chief China Strategist at JPM. And by the way, congratulations on being named by an institutional investor as their top China strategist. Must be quite a proud feather in your cap there. Tell me about this reform process here. We're across the pond on the other side of the world, but it could have implications. It could have capital in and outflow implications on the markets. Your first thoughts, Frank, about what we got today?
It's creating some uncertainties in the market in terms of, the capital requirements and the liquidity issues and so forth, and how the hedge funds and the private equity is going to be, regulated and so forth. Now, summertime for the market usually on liquidity is a difficult time. Market usually correct during this period of low liquidity and so forth. And of course, we don't want more uncertainties. And going forward, as your program been saying, all those issues will be put to the congressional debate. And we don't know what's going to come out in the end in terms of the regulation and so forth.
Do you expect it to be strictly a domestic debate, though, about what goes on in terms of inside their borders? Or, it's becoming more encompassing, a global issue. You know how he's looking for, to crack down on tax havens, and he's looking for more sources of revenue and tax evaders and tax avoiders and that sort of thing.
Right. I would say anything happening in the U.S. won't be limited just to the U.S. We can't trust the so-called the decoupling thesis and so forth. For example, the recent rally in emerging market has been coupled with weakening dollar, right? Because money has been flowing out from the so-called safe haven U.S. dollar into emerging markets. Now, the regulation, of course, would have some impact on U.S. financial system and, how liquidity capital requirement is going to be, regulated and so forth. That's why it's creating some uncertainty in the summer low season. And it will create some volatility in emerging markets.
Could it create more outflows into emerging markets if people feel like there's just too much meddling, in their own backyard?
It could, but depending on how they're going to regulate, for example, hedge funds and other type of investment vehicles and so forth, it could also have the flow impact on the other direction.
Right. Yeah. No, we don't want to act like we have all the rules in place. In fact, all they did today was just announce the very start of a process where they'll be doing all this. From the China context, will regulation in this world be enhanced as a result of this? I'm sure the people say at the CSRC have been sort of eyeing the whole context of this ongoing debate in the United States with great interest, and maybe taking some pages out of their plan book as well.
I would say yes, China is watching the development in the U.S. very carefully, and I don't think they have a clear mind in terms of what kind of regulatory framework China should be going for. For example, banks are now becoming more complicated.
Right.
Should you regulate the banks only by the CBRC, or there should be also some kind of a financial supervisory committee, which regulating all kind of business, securities, investment banking, asset management, the insurance. The world is getting complicated for the Chinese banks.
It is. A lot of overlap and a lot of vested interest in the territorialism when it comes to these organizations.